This is the Acer Predator XB27. Yes, I know, it's a gaming monitor, but this display continues to blow past my expectation for what I actually use it for, which is video editing in Final Cut Pro using my M1 Max MacBook Pro. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about why I think this display is the best value for the M1 Pro or M1 Max MacBook Pro. So let's get to it. It's good to know what you actually want from an external display before you actually pull the trigger. So for me, having a very good display on the M1 Max MacBook Pro means that I don't really have to prioritize color accuracy on whatever external display I choose to use or buy, and that's probably going to save me a lot of money. There are different reasons why anyone using a Windows laptop or a MacBook gets an external display. The first reason I can think about is gaming, which is mostly Windows laptop, especially if it's a gaming laptop. I don't think anyone games on a MacBook, at least I don't. The second reason I can think about is color grading, and the third reason I can think about is for more display screen real estate, and I feel like I fall into the third category thanks to the fact that the M1 Max MacBook Pro pretty much has a very good display. I do find myself needing extra space while editing in Final Cut Pro, because personally, anytime I'm in the studio, I like to set up my Final Cut Pro where I have my timeline on my external display and the video itself on my M1 Max MacBook Pro, and it has been working really fine for me. But this display is more than just a space to put my timeline. The display is actually very good. What I love about this display is that it looks very good next to my MacBook Pro, and the colors are very vibrant, not accurate, but it looks stunning for something that's just a gaming monitor. And even though I've never used it for color grading, it's a viable option. It has minimal bezel at the top and at the side, so it looks aesthetic. It comes with HDMI and DisplayPort. Nothing fancy like Thunderbolt USB-C port, but it works. And for something that's just less than $400, I'm really impressed. Now, Apple just recently announced the new Studio display, and it's actually very tempting. I mean, it's 5K in terms of resolution. It has a front-facing camera, an inbuilt speaker. It's powered by the A13 Bionic chip, the same chip that Apple used on the iPhone 11. But even if I was going to invest in a new Studio display and spend $1599 or more than that, I'll prefer to invest in a new display technology. Now, if you think about it closely, technically the display on the M1 Max MacBook Pro is better than the Studio display. In fact, the only thing the Studio display has on the M1 Max MacBook Pro is that it's a 5K monitor. But in terms of the display alone, the M1 Max just flat out just beats the Studio display. First of all, it's a mini LED display, which is a new technology, while the Studio display is an old LED display. And also, the M1 Max is capable of going up to 1600 nits in terms of brightness. The Studio display is just 600 nits. In fact, for the most part, I would say that the reason why the Studio display is that expensive is all the extra features, like it having A13 Bionic chip, front-facing camera with center stage, speaker, and all the Thunderbolt ports. But in terms of the value you actually get as a display itself, it's not really a viable option for the M1 Max MacBook Pro. If you're someone that owns any of the new M1 Pro or M1 Max MacBook Pro, these computers are very expensive, and they are expensive for a reason. They have everything you need as a creator on the go. They have all the ports, not all of them, but they have most of the ports. It has a very good display. The keyboard is actually very good. So anything that you need, like an external monitor, an external keyboard, doesn't really have to be the best of the best. For me right now, I'm getting the best value out of this monitor. I just believe that the Studio display is not going to add anything extra, but that is just my opinion. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. My name is Lev. See you later. Peace.
Push it to the limit, I can't go no more. Red light, no way, I'm coming back home.